Yeesh, little brisk up here now. I'm a guy from Florida. I'm just not used to this. I grew up in Cleveland originally, but I'd forgotten how frigid it could get up here. That was a real experience back there. Would you believe all that stuff in that truck? And that's not all of it. A lot of it's been already parted out. George is going to tell you just how that whole thing got in his backyard here. What happened? Where'd that come from?
There's one of my customers here, he's a collector, Craig Douglas, sends me this email that he's gotten from this guy named Mike Filion in Florida, who needs to get rid of his 5 used storage places full of used drums. He had a drum repair business for 45 years and called himself the Drum Doctor.
Okay.
I know there's one in L.A., but he's the Florida.
I have heard the name, yes.
Okay. So the price was way too high. He sent me a list, and the price started going down. It got down to a ridiculously low price, and I said, okay, I
couldn't pass it up.
Couldn't pass it up. So sure enough, we bit the bullet and took a U-Haul truck down there. Well, the stuff didn't fit into the U-Haul truck. It was so much stuff. We needed a tractor trailer. It was that much stuff. It was timpani, it was concert bass drums, it was marching drums, drum sets, cymbals, stands, pedals, parts and parts and parts and parts for days. And that's what attracted to me were all the parts.
Yes.
Right? And it was everything from really old, Radio King and old Ludwig stuff to, just so-so used old parts, a lot of Taiwanese stuff.
Yes.
But when we finally got it back up here, we had to nest drums inside of drums. It took us, we had planned on 1 day of packing, it took 3.
Oh boy.
Drums inside of drums inside of drums. We got it all in that 26-foot U-Haul truck, drove it up here, and when we pulled everything out and pulled all the drums out of each other, it filled up that tractor trailer that you're seeing. To the point, it was all the way to the ceiling, front to back, with one narrow slot down the center.
Now you've just seen what's left. Imagine what he's talking about, how much stuff was packed in there. Now at least we could walk around a little bit. They've put some pieces and separated them in bins, but I looked myself, and it's mind-boggling. You really have to look around for a while.
That was just the first. There were more after that.
Yeah.
We bought very many. I just kind of put the word out that I buy, basically distressed inventories. Okay, anybody wanting to get rid of their stuff.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot, with this economy, there's a lot of stores going out of business. So,
I imagine so, yeah.
And we put a lot of it up on eBay, and we keep the juicy parts for ourselves.
I was going to say, what kind of stuff like that
well,
was in there?
There was a nice little 13-inch Radio King.
Really?
Yeah, and a few other little choice things. I know some of the guys, cherry-picked all the cymbals, and they got, some really nice cymbals out of it. And, there wasn't a whole lot of collectibles in there. But sometimes, you got to buy a whole junkyard to get collectibles.
I found a couple of parts in there. A Rogers throw-off for the hi-hat. I haven't seen one of those for a while. There was a Keystone badge in there with the grommet attached to it. But I was just hunting around. Look for this stuff on eBay. Is that the only way you're going to move it, or do you want people to call up and say, hey, do you have boom arm, Tama, whatever?
The answer is always yes.
Always yes. He said, he'll sell it to you. Sure. So that's the story about that. Now, we've got a special surprise for you right now. Now, this, for your eyes only, the first time I just got to look at it. I was one of the first people to see this. Here is the new and first front page cover to the new Not So Modern Drummer. What edition are we calling this?
This is actually this is 15.1.
15.1. There's going to be a couple of modifications to this cover. So
this is just a mock-up of the
mock-up,
cover.
but here you go.
But the magazine is ready. The cover is ready, and that's one thing I wanted to touch on when you mentioned before about the punctuality of the magazine. We are going to stay at least an issue ahead. Okay, we're going to have at least the year's issues, 4 issues planned and written. Also, there's going to be an emergency backup issue in case something happens to somebody that where we physically can't do the work.
Great idea.
Yeah, because I think it's very important, not only to the readership, to make sure that they come in on time, because it's been a problem in the past. And the guys will tell you, John and Bill will tell you, yeah, it's been a problem in the past, and it doesn't look good. And that's one of the main things I'm going to change is there are going to be those 4 issues, and I hope at some point that we will go bi-monthly and eventually monthly.
I was just
That's
going to
gonna take
ask
a
you.
while.
I was going to ask, is there any chance of more issues? Because
Yes.
waiting 4 months, but then again, there's going to be the website again, and it's going to be offering more things now on that site.
The e-zine.
E-zine, probably, like I said, here it is. First time, folks. We've got 20 years of Not So Modern Drummer. This is not going to be here, the Ludwig Jazzette, that was in the last issue. But we've got a Harry Bauer article, Drums at the Turn of the Century. Very interesting for someone like myself who has a bunch of those early drums from Boston that don't get much attention. Well, this is Harry Kangeny's article. It's going to be very interesting.
And Ringo's newest drum set.
Everybody's interested in Ringo.
And then there's the second installment of the Ringo Premier Kit.
Really?
But that's another change that's going to happen. There's not going to be any more Part 2 articles.
No?
Yeah,
No more continuations. Okay.
No, we're going to require all the writers to put up their articles in one article. We're not going to have any. I feel like the readership, when they get the next magazine, to have to wait 3 months to read the follow-up, it just doesn't work. And it tends to make the magazine look like it's the same content that was in the last one. So that's one of the ways that we're going to thicken up the magazine, too. The articles are going to be complete. Mm-hmm.
And not a lot of interviewing, or it's just going to be mostly about the instruments.
If there are interviews with drummers, it's going to be about their instruments.
Great.
Mm-hmm.
Great. Well, this has been a real treat. I got to say, I didn't expect to do this, but George, it's
We
been a
just cooked
pleasure
this up
meeting you.
yesterday.
Okay, folks, look for that new edition. It's a big deal. It's going to only get better and better. Jim Messina saying goodbye to you. Hopefully I'll see you at the Chicago show coming up this year in May. See you later, folks.